Why should you join the ACG YouTube membership? Listen, it helps the channel. Sure, I could pretend that some company's pre-built PC is awesome, even if it just accidentally happens to be that I got it from them in the last 3 weeks. You don't want that. I could also open up an OnlyFans, which just me naked eating Uncrustables and rubbing my beard against the mic. No one wants that either, because it'd be terrifying. For $5, you can become a YouTube member. I'd probably save you that by warning you away from Alekine's gun, or maybe Gene Rain, or maybe you watch the reviews. I don't know why, because they suck, but maybe you do. If you join now, we don't have to worry about those things. You also get access to the Patreon when it comes to the Discord. So become a YouTube member now, before I start having to put surprise oral sex looking thumbnails on my reviews. And trust me, no one else wants that. So power up with ACG. Besides, it's for sure better than those POS earbuds YouTubers try to sell you. What's up, everybody? This is Carrick with ACG, and I'm here with Johnny and Silver for podcast number 520 of the best gaming podcast, named just for SEO, not because of any skill on our part, or at least my part. I want to say thanks to everybody who gets a chance to sit down and talk to us and discuss gaming, especially as we get ready for Summer Games Fest, or weekly Summer Games Release Fest, or whatever this thing is. It's so spread out, man. Like Johnny and I were talking about this prior. It's absolutely ridiculous how spread out it is when it comes to content. Sort of nice with the E3, because you sort of got the major events, and then from that point on, you just sort of rolled off into everything else. But because Silver wasn't here last time, I want to check in with him, see what he's been playing, what he's been doing.
Mainly I've been playing Night Rain, Elden Ring. Really,
give me your impressions in less. Let's do 5 minutes or less. What are your impressions? What are your likes, dislikes about it? Give me your Tinder impressions.
Well, I've been one of the fortunate ones who hasn't really experienced any performance issues with it, so I've been blessed there. I've been enjoying it quite a bit. I think it offers a really interesting, unique take on like Elden Ring gameplay. Mm-hmm. Features mostly the same combat, same combat systems, just sort of tweaked a little bit with the randomized nature of it. Mm-hmm. Where in Elden Ring things were very, very set. You knew where to go, when to go there, and whatnot. Once you learned the game, that's less of a thing here. Even though there are still sort of elements of it where you learn to go where to go, sometimes for a good chance of certain loot or some stuff. But I've really enjoyed playing with randoms, actually. I think it offers a really, really interesting experience. Like my first game, actually, was very, like, it's very much a From Software game in that it throws you off the deep end from the very start. And I feel like this one does it probably even more so than most of the From Software games I can remember, where you're really sort of initially lost and have to figure things out. And like for me, that was sort of expanded by the fact that my first match, both of my randomized teammates ran off in different directions, and I was sort of left to figure out, well, where do I go? What do I do from here?
Right.
So we were all sort of all apart separately, doing different stuff for that first run, which didn't go very well. We all got killed, I think, by the first night boss. Mm-hmm. Like at the end of the first day. And then you start gelling with some team members. Like you notice you get some competent team members, and things start rolling, and it gets really, really gratifying. Or you notice that some players might be struggling, and you sort of try and pick them up and show them where to go and stuff like that, and guide them. Like that, it gets really satisfying in that way. And it's really nice, the mechanic they have for the bosses at the end of the days and the final boss of the run are so that the timers on teammates going down mm-hmm. are no longer in effect. So a teammate can be downed indefinitely, waiting for the revive. It's just that the more they go down, the longer it takes you to revive them. Okay. But they're always still in the fight, potentially, even though they're down. And that's an element I really appreciate that they've implemented. Like, and in terms of enemies, I mean, there are most of the Elden Ring staples are here. You're gonna find some that are probably uh, related to trauma for some long-time Elden Ring players, like the thrashing tree worm or whatever it's called makes an appearance here as well. There are also some old From Software staples from previous Souls games and whatnot that make an appearance, which provides some pretty cool moments. The classes are fun to play. I haven't gone through all of them yet, but like I've mostly played Guardian, Duchess, and Iron Eye, and I found all of those to offer very unique and different play experiences that were all fun and engaging for me.
Is there one that you look at and you're like, this character is not equal to the others?
No, I wouldn't say that. No, they all seem legitimate. They all seem to fit in. It's just a question of learning how to play them and learning where they fit in and learning how to use their skill set and how to make the weapons and gear and whatnot you can pick up fit in with that skill set, and then fit in potentially with the runes. No, not the runes. The traits that you can slot in to your character before you start a run.
So the big question that we got in the last podcast was, so we were discussing, because I had made a mistake when I was describing it. I kept using DLC, but obviously it's not. It's a standalone. Does it feel right? Because I'm firmly under the impression it feels right as a standalone expansion, not only for the price, but that a person who likes this may not like Elden Ring. Is there enough differences or similarities? Do you actually agree with that? Or are you one of the people who sort of would have rather seen this as a true DLC, just added on to Elden Ring for, well, let's say it was the full price. Let's say it was $40 as DLC. Do you actually like this as a standalone product? Have you talked to anybody who maybe this is their first time playing because they didn't do Elden Ring? Even though I know you guys don't have voice chat, but I know that in the game.
I think there's enough value here for it to be a standalone game, for sure. And I think there's enough of a different take here for it to be a standalone thing from Elden Ring and not just a DLC thing. I do, however, struggle to see how you would enjoy this if you didn't enjoy Elden Ring. Because fundamentally, on the fundamental gameplay level, in terms of the mechanics of how you move, how your character interacts with your environment,
right,
the combat, the game is very much Elden Ring.
Okay.
So if you have like a trained skill set from Elden Ring, you're gonna fit into Night Rain just fine. And I think if you bumped up against that and found Elden Ring too difficult, you might struggle in Night Rain, although Night Rain does potentially offer you the co-op angle in letting other people potentially carry for you. So maybe that will help see you through. So maybe that co-op element can actually, maybe that can bridge that gap if you bounced off Elden Ring, I guess. That's possible.
My other question is, can you do can you do cross classes? Can two people be the same class in that game?
Yes, you can play. Awesome. All three players can be the same class.
All three players can be
three archers,
Empress
or
Duchess.
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah. That's a huge bonus for that kind of stuff, because you might as well let them play the way they want and then make the game react to you, versus like, hey, we're going to restrict you in these 15 fucking ways.
I will say randoms do actually tend to steer away from that. So like randoms, in my experience, if they notice that they are more of one character, they will switch away and make the team unique.
Okay, well, that's fair. That's a good thought process, but at least they have the choice if they want to be able to
jump in. The choice is there.
Yeah, and you know how it is. You jump into a game and you're like, man, I can't wait to be, fuck, somebody's already that guy. And then you're screwed and you're the last one out.
I mean, honestly, one of the most powerful teams in the game is 3 Iron Eyes. Like the 3 of the Archer character, because the Archer character is just so unbelievably powerful.
That's okay. I think I can solidify that comment, because that might be the 50,000th time I've heard that. Like whether in chat, like everybody was saying the same thing. So that's cool. Hey,
Yeah, I mean, my
that's
experience
awesome.
has been by far the easiest character so far.
Okay, all right. Anything else you've been playing? And then we're going to continue this discussion. I just want to make sure we don't skip another game.
Not much. I mean, Helldivers still off and on. We actually had the like the Super Earth Invasion event, which I don't know if you guys covered.
We did cover it a bit. Yeah, I'm just more impressed with it, and hearing people in chat talking about it last week. We did cover it a bit.
Yeah, there was also a huge controversy with it, with the Chinese players who basically launched a major review bombing campaign against it because of some sort of misunderstanding that occurred when they were very focusing on basically defending the in-game version of China on the game's sort of map of Super Earth, and that city eventually got overrun, and they weren't happy with how that sort of went down. But yeah, I mean, I think it was just a really, really fun and engaging event, and really sort of brought the community together in a way that was really, really fun to watch, and really tied into like the War Bond they released before that, where they included the ability to use a banner, and it doesn't actually do anything. You're just carrying around a flag and waving it, but it just adds so much when you're like running around defending Super Earth and you have somebody running around with the flag waving it everywhere. Like a lot of people complain that the flag doesn't do anything, but I love it.
The symbolism.
I mean, yeah, and that does do something in and of itself. It like ties the fiction together.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure. And it reminds me of how much in the mod for Mountain Blade 2, the Napoleonic Wars I've talked about. You could actually play like musicians, so you could play like a piper or a bagpiper or a drummer, while your other soldiers, the other players, were marching alongside you,
doing the battle.
And you didn't really have a weapon. You just had to play the music, like the marching music. And it was so much fun to do that and to sort of be a part of that, and not necessarily contribute to the killing or whatever, but just be part of that sort of atmospheric contribution. Was really engaging, and yeah, the flag in Helldivers scratches like a similar itch for me.
Excellent. Also, everybody, if you're a subscriber or leave a comment, we're giving away some codes for some games that I got that I won't be able to cover. Got okay for that. So leave a rating on iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube. When this event is over, leave a comment. Let's say the comment should be, you can rate on those, but if you're leaving a comment on the YouTube, when this gets done, leave a comment about your biggest Game Fest expectation, because as we finish this, we'll be rolling right into it. But I did want to ask Johnny, so you said something about solos being fun in Night Rain?
Yeah, solo is a great way to play. It wasn't initially, by the way. It was extremely punishing and only meant for like challenge runners, I think. But now, so they've rebalanced some stuff around. You have now like one life. So if you go down, you go back up one time in the run.
You get one respawn, basically.
You get the one, and that makes a huge difference. Like yesterday, I played. Oh, whoa!
Yeah, I did that. Go ahead.
Sorry, just locking in on Kart. Yeah, I played a run yesterday where I went down in the first night. I just goofed, and that was the difference. I came back, and I went on to win the run. So, like, you know, that just shows you it can make a big difference. And then they've rebalanced some stuff around with the experience. Thank you. They rebalanced some stuff with the experience where it feels really good to just just leveling by yourself feels really efficient, really effective, because you don't have that problem of the coordination problem if you're playing with randoms. If you're in a team, I still think that's the best experience you can have in the game. But to kind of practice and learn stuff, I actually recommend people do try the solo, because it gives you so much freedom to experiment in a low stakes environment. And if it's a dead run, that's fine. You don't need to like impact other people, or you don't have that sort of pressure that everybody's gonna have to sit through a miserable run because you tried something and it didn't work. So there's something to that. I really think it's a great way to practice the game. And I was gonna add to what you guys were saying that I do think Night Rain is a bit more accessible than Elden Ring in a sense, because each class has added either mobility or something above the normal Elden Ring combat. So you could have like a dash that gives you invulnerability frames, like the archer, he can kind of dash into people and he's invulnerable. The Duchess can do extra long dodges and they cost less stamina. The full melee class, the raiders, the barbarian guy, he's got this very long animation thing where you can absorb attacks and then punch back. So there's a lot of stuff that makes it easier for you to disjoint incoming attacks, which you don't have in like base Elden Ring. So I actually think a lot of these are significantly easier. And then talking about the archer, like Silver said, with that guy, as long as you're playing your spacing right, you can deal consistent DPS, always being, in a safe position. Well, not always,
somewhat safe.
They do have some ways to gap close to you at times, and you have to be on the ball, but I think you have so many more tools, and that's, I think, the key thing is also the variety that it adds. Whether you're a spell slinger or full melee, you got a lot of options, and all of them are very viable.
Can I point out also, I'll put together a donation stream for this for them. It is sad they apparently can't count to 2, so we'll give them a donation stream so they can figure out how
I hear they're working on it. Yeah,
they fix one, they get one working, they give you all the classes, and they're like a really bad count yellow and fuck. It's like 134. I don't know why it's that way, but they do need to fix it because I think duos.
Duo would be
quite
fantastic.
literally is a number between 1 and 3. Like, I don't understand how you would even play off that you have that, you didn't think about it or whatever. It's obviously on purpose, but I think that on purpose needs to change. If that's their one mistake, it's that they've allowed everybody to adjust and do all these different things. And then suddenly it's like, but the one thing you can't do is team up with one other person. It's like, if you don't want to put AI in, that's fine. But, figure out what the fucking number 2 is, because a lot of people in the world use it, like 7.8 billion of us.
Yep,
so
a lot of people
might want to figure out what the number 2 is. And we see this with other games where they go 1, 2, 3, and they don't let 4 because they want to try, that pyramid of danger, which I'm fine with.
Yes.
But I can't remember a game that's been like staggered and missed a full number. I'm sure there is probably one out there. But I also probably don't know about it because it's a bad idea. It feels like.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking there have been issues in the past where it wasn't balanced properly. So if you were playing 4-player, you had it perfectly balanced. But if you played 3-player, you would have the same difficulty of 4, but now you're 3 people dealing damage instead of 4. It just becomes more difficult. This was like Monster Hunter World. But yeah, I think now there's just no excuse, and they are working on balancing a duo mode.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. I feel for them. Hopefully they can figure out what the number 2 is. What else are you playing?
So
I've been... Oh, sorry, Silver, go for
it. No, I was... Sorry, I was just mixed up a little.
Oh, no worries. I was going to say I started playing some Switch 2 stuff. I got mine yesterday. I'm sure we'll talk about it too. But some Mario Kart, some Tears of the Kingdom with the upgraded version for the new system.
Right.
Testing that out. And then...
How did you like it?
I like it a lot. It's kind of magical playing that game without having the stutters. Originally, whenever you went into the build mode, I forget what it's called, the one where you have the magic hand where you move stuff around, it would always stutter for me for some reason. and now everything runs fantastically. I tried docked and undocked, and both look great, even on like the big screen 4K. I'm really impressed with the system so far, to be honest.
Your data transfer went smoothly from the Switch one to the...
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about it. It's a bit of a cumbersome process. I would have liked to have just the ability to upload to the cloud, right? Like most other.
I don't know. Nintendo doesn't really do that.
Yeah, they don't really like that.
It's interesting because when you get an Android, let's say, you literally just, it's like, what's your email address? It's this. Okay, do you want to switch over all your stuff to be on your next Android? And you press a button, you walk away, you come back, it's all done. Even Windows ultimately is much better than it used to be. I'll set up a Windows device in just a very short amount of time and be able to get going. But Nintendo, I mean, they got something working at least, I mean, it feels weird. It feels like helping somebody into a boat that really shouldn't need help, but whatever, they got that working. That's great. I haven't heard anybody having any issues at all generally for the transfer. I have heard a lot of people saying it's uncomfortable, which stuns me. But I wasn't aware that there were so many people that felt that the Switch being flat was uncomfortable. Initially, the original Switch, and most of the people I hear who are saying the Switch 2 is uncomfortable are still on the flat part of it, the discussion about the flat part, which I guess hadn't popped up to me. That was the one thing I definitely have heard people mention, is that it's a bit flat. I've heard some positives and negatives about the screen. It is HDR. It is about 450 nits, which is right at the cusp of, what is HDR truly and what isn't. But at least you get to sort of, have that option, be able to turn it on and see. Some games are going to be better than others. As we've seen, HDR implementation sucks. What's the battery life, Johnny? Like, have you been playing it and watched the percentage go down? What do you think your battery life is going to be?
I haven't noticed it too much because I've been switching between docked and undocked quite a bit, so it's kind of charging back up. So I haven't noticed anything too drastic.
Would you say, I mean, did you see the percentage go down? Do you know what the lowest percentage was when you were playing handheld, or did you not track that?
Yeah, I think playing for about an hour, I want to say it went down about 20%.
Okay, 80%. So it was anywhere? It was probably 70 to 80% full.
It was
still?
Like almost full, and then I feel like there was a chunk, maybe 25% off.
Shit, that ain't bad, man.
After about an hour.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I could deal with, just looking at of course it's going to depend on the game. That'll be,
exactly.
Cyberpunk is most likely going to pull more wattage than some other game, depending on who makes it. Is Cyberpunk out for it?
Yeah.
Or are we going to have to wait?
Yeah,
Cyberpunk's
it's on the store.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you get that one?
No.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I'm not giving them money for another one. I'll see what people.
They got my money. I had a good time. We're good.
They got my money one time, which is still probably should only got half of it. But yeah, overall, I've heard generally some happy people. We do have some questions I'll get to when it comes to the discussion around like the excitement around the system. But I will say, I think with it being released right now, with Sony's state of play, which to me was pretty depressing, but I went into it knowing it would be whatever. We got a couple trailers that were okay, I guess, but it was like, okay, we sort of know it was put together short term. We got what we got. Most likely some marathon stuff was cut and that it was going to have some marathon stuff, but we did
I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. We did get a new fighting game that I think I like the art style. I do understand where the complaints about the art style come from, but I actually liked what I saw. I thought that looked really enjoyable. It looked like it'd be a fun game to play, not necessarily world shattering. But I think there's just so many things going on right now. It's quite difficult to be. It's not difficult to be excited. It's that at a certain point, a human's only got so much energy to give out towards whatever's going on, and there's so many titles. And then we're in the middle of Summer Games Fest or starting it. And I think that I get it because I had just this morning we had somebody in Discord go, "When does Switch 2 come out?" It's like, I can
already
see that.
Missed the train.
Yeah, and I can definitely see that thought process. Oh, I do want to point out every store here has them, so I don't think there's any worry about getting one. At least here,
honestly, here too.
Every single store has them. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
They still got it.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
They were probably in some canister 9 months ago or whatever. I mean, that was the rumor, was that they had already started shipping them, which is why the pre-day patch was required and why we didn't get review versions of it. I was asked if I'd review games for the Switch 2. Of course I will. The only real issue with doing a review for a Switch 2 game is having the Switch 2, which I don't yet. So at some point when I do, we'll cover it. But right now, nothing on that has grabbed my fire. But let's talk about probably the biggest news, I think, this entire year, which is the new Mario Kart. I mean, so is it world shattering? Is it? Like, did you turn it on and go, this is it? It does have world in it.
It does have world in it. I think the coolest thing is, well, not to discount, a lot of the attention to detail is there, polish is there, tons of different, playable characters.
Very cool.
With their own animations.
Awesome.
Lots of detail. Lots. So for people who, enjoy that stuff. And it's ultra smooth. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't have like my FPS indicators or anything in there, but both docked and incredibly like docked. It looks, high res on my 4K screen. I don't know what type of up-resing is happening there, but it looks very smooth. And then undocked, it looks incredible too on the screen. The screen is very good looking. So anyway, the game is fantastic fun. It reminds me also of that. I don't know if you remember, there was a racing game in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth with the chocobos.
Yeah.
You could do a bunch of that. It reminded me of that. It makes me think that obviously they copied Mario Kart and not the other way around.
Yeah, not the other way around.
But of course, I haven't. This is my first Mario Kart, actually. So I've been enjoying it. What's super cool, too, is that when you go to the next race, you got this race to the next location. So it's like, instead of being a circuit,
a mini race to a race kind of thing.
Yeah,
sprint.
Right. Yeah, so it's a sprint to kind of the next location. That's how the map or the world itself is sort of being played out. So it's not open or anything like that. But it's cool the way it works. And yeah, I think the best way to put it is just like it's more Mario Kart. And it's very high level of
polish,
attention to detail, polish. Yeah.
Very cool. Super chat, Manuel. Super chat 500 DOP. Thanks for the podcast, guys. Starfield DLC would be nice. Have a good one. Yeah, I think you should be prepared for more Starfield DLC. More DLC from a couple companies that we didn't expect. Depending on the size frame of what you call DLC. Anything's DLC to me. Even a skin is technically a DLC. But it does sound like Cyberpunk 2 is coming in a couple years, and they've looked at maybe doing more DLC for between 1 and 2. And there's been rumors of that, some kind of DLC, maybe cut content, because we've seen a bunch of cut content. There was a ton. There was like the trams that people found. There was all that kind of stuff. Some of it's been put back into the game, but there's also a lot in that game. You know how it is, like almost like a director's cut. But in games, they leave the data there a lot of times. You'll be able to find it. And it sounds like with Cyberpunk, they definitely have some plans to roll out another style of DLC or something small, big. I'm not quite sure what it is, but that'll be exciting as well. So, yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff coming in the form of DLCs as well as just full games. Switch 2, like I said, I think everybody I've talked to seems to be really happy with it. I haven't really heard any, the uncomfortable thing, again, I think is based on people who already found it uncomfortable from the get-go. So, yeah, the original, and if the form factor doesn't change, but it gets bigger, it might even be more uncomfortable. I don't know for those people. Sorry, my dogs are. I'm gonna let these guys out.
No worries. By the way, I was just checking out of curiosity. This, we used to call it the International Podcast. DOP is the Dominican peso. So from the Dominican Republic, and that's like between $5 and $10.
Well, thank you very much from the Dominican Republic. We appreciate it. We've got somebody there. I mean, people, can't understand us in English. So maybe maybe he's listening to Google Translate and he's like, I can finally understand this jackass. Appreciate it. Moving on from there. Oh, what I've played. So I've been playing a couple games for review. Yes, I still review. I get this all the time. Anytime there's a couple days where we do a couple podcast posts and people are like, I can't believe, does he review? Of course I do. It just there really hasn't been code coming in. A lot of developers are not stupid enough to release their code right prior to Games Fest. And but I am sitting on some code for later reviews. Might be a surprise or two in there from me. But yeah, I'm definitely jumping in to do codes or to do coded review here. Robert says the studio behind Oblivion Remastered is doing the DLC. They are not officially doing the DLC. That was actually based on a LinkedIn that now has apparently been considered an editing error. But I would assume that even if that is an editing error, if you're talking about Virtuos, there's a very high chance that if anybody's going to do it, it would be him. It would be that group, just because they ended up in January or February buying 2 other studios and are now basically not an original IP or create your own game studio. They are simply I wouldn't call it a port studio, but they are a support / port / remaking studio. Yeah. So there's been a lot of hubbub and rumors and then mistakes retracted and blah, blah, blah. But long story short, it doesn't matter. I also agree that even if that is incorrect, they would be a good company to do it. But they were working on Oblivion for the longest period of time. So we don't know. Until it's announced, we don't know, because how many times have we heard a rumor about Bloodborne and we're now sitting on 11 years of fucking Bloodborne rumors? So, and people be like, look, this LinkedIn guy said he's working on Bloodborne too. Hopefully, what else have I been playing? Bunch of Division. We got a bunch of people in the Patreon playing it. It's been an absolute blast to just sit back and vibe playing that, going around shooting some enemies, which has been always a good time with the guys. Sans the shitty leveling up system, it has been quite enjoyable to just run around and shoot and kill enemies. Let me get to some of these questions real quick. Salin says, no, this is Cody Club. Says, Kart, great conversation on FOMO versus frustration. Do you wonder if we will, or if a person can naturally go back to some kind of middle ground? So, man, that's a difficult question. So the discussion was a patron podcast, which was about the idea that, psychologically, FOMO always turns into frustration over a period of time because the human brain gets burned out on consistently wanting what they can't get, which we've seen it. We know, you'll probably know what I'm talking about, but you'll see somebody diss on technology or a console, and then they magically get technology or console and they like it, or you get maybe a Microsoft game on a Sony store, and suddenly the people who were like, Forza sucks, or this is great. That kind of stuff happens where the frustration gets replaced. But I do think right now, FOMO's just rough. I think right now it has been replaced for a lot of people with frustration because they've almost given up on getting new data. And that's why I was telling people, if you're tired of seeing my updates and you're just like, I don't want to see it anymore, I actually understand where you're coming from. I get it myself. We've talked about it in here. We've talked about it in our YouTube groups, where you wake up and you're like, I've got 55 subscriptions. They've all done 2 videos because they're told they need to do multiple videos to do well on YouTube or what have you. And it turns around and you get tired of hearing about the new thing or the new problem or the new game or the new subscription service. So do I believe people can reset? I'll throw it to these guys after I say, yeah, I do, but I don't think you can be mired in the situation and suddenly lose your frustration. I think that's quite difficult. I don't think I've ever heard of anybody say, I just magically woke up without being frustrated. I think a gap in experience with the situation is probably 90% of the time the only way you're going to get rid of it. But do you guys have anything to add? And by the way, Silver, if I didn't explain that well, all we were talking about is just after a while, the chaff and then the desire to get said thing. I know we don't do it. We don't have backlogs as much as other people do, but a lot of people live with that. And then they end up getting just frustrated because they're being told of new stuff and they've got old stuff. And at some point, frustration replaces the desire to experience something. And they go back to cozy gaming maybe. And they play a game they played for 6 years because it's better than experience the new thing. And if you guys have options for how they might get rid of that frustration while not leaving gaming completely, feel free. If either one of you guys
I think there's no magical remedy, and it's one of those things that even if you're aware it's happening, you can't necessarily stop it. It's like even when a magician kind of shows you the sleight of hand, it still fools you because it's that good, it's that effective. But I do think that when you start being more aware of it and you know that you catch yourself more in it, it's easier to be able to resist it more, or at least have the half-life of that frustration be much lower. Because you're constantly reminding yourself, oh no, this is just FOMO I'm caught in. I don't actually need this or want this specifically. It's more so just that phenomenon. So I think that helps, but it's tough. Everybody's posting. Everybody's got a blog. Everybody's posting on, X, whatever, Facebook, whatever you use.
Yeah, there's a ton. It's just constant. What about you, Silver? Have any suggestions to, other than going out and going for a walk? Any suggestions for getting rid of the frustration?
I mean, it's a question of trying to change your focus, I think, because I don't know. I don't really experience. I have a backlog, and yeah, there are times like everyone, and I do a lot of retro gaming as well. So I play a lot of old games from time to time, but I'm not really frustrated with my backlog, and certainly not on a level where it incurs a penalty on my interest to experience new games. I think you have to accept the fact that you're not going to experience everything, that you are going to miss out, and that it's okay to miss out, and that you have to allow yourself to miss out. Because there's just no way not to miss out, unfortunately. Yeah. I mean, it's that way for film. I mean, I've been a cinema freak for forever, and there's just no way I can keep up with every single movie that's out and that I'm interested in. There's no way I can keep up with every single book. There's no way I can keep up with every single game. So you really just have to try and pick your battles, and see what interests you now, and then engage with that, and then move on. I think that's the healthiest approach, certainly for me. Don't spend time ruminating or like regretting, or feeling bad that you missed out on something. Be grateful for the stuff that you did and that you did engage with and that you did enjoy. The fact that you enjoyed it, that you engaged with it, should show you that it was worth doing, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to offer to that other than if you let your hobby become a sense of frustration, I mean, you're probably at the point of where a lot of like reviewers or journalists can get pretty quickly, or creators.
Yeah, if you do reach that point, then it's okay to take a break and do something else.
Yeah, masturbate a lot. I don't know, man. Work some of that shit out. Next up, let's see. We have Solon. He says if Witcher 4 can now seamlessly,
literally different strokes for different folks, as it were.
There we go. If Witcher 4 can seamlessly cut from cutscene to combat with zero loading, is the death of cinematic breaks actually robbing everybody of that hit and emotion? Yes. I do think that a lot of developers are going to continue this, and thanks, Solon, for that. I do think a lot of developers are going to continue with the moment of somebody crawling through the rock-like vagina crevasse in Uncharted. That's, and by the way, that is a symbol of rebirth. It is not accidentally like that. That is quite literally like some developer heads will consider it that. Like you're going to the new places, the rebirth of this is like birthing out into the new place. It's why the title screens now are later. I don't know if you guys have noticed that with so many games where you'll play a game for an hour and then the title screen will pop up. By the way, great way to get engagement, by the way. But I think overall it won't die. I think people will adjust things. I think games will have different ways of being delivered and different ideas will be allowed for that kind of stuff. But remember this, if there is a loading screen, they can do more than if there isn't. So they will be put in just for the sheer idea that some developers will use that on purpose to do something else that's on the side, whether they have a simulation heavy game or whatever. But very cool to see. We're starting to see that. We've seen games without cutscenes since the PlayStation 1 and 2, because of the way the game was set up. We've seen games without loading screens for years, and it didn't magically remove us from those moments. I think a lot of things are going to in-game models, which is also better. Let's be honest. You see that CGI cutscene, and when that guy looks a certain way, and then you go into the game and you're like, damn, that's a downgrade. It's actually a little bit less of a hit to just say, fuck it. We're going to give you the in-game model, and we're not going to mess with you and sort of have this glow-up Instagram fucking filter where the person looks perfect, and then they drop into the 10 polygon model. You're like, damn. So,
dude, it used to be hilarious in older Final Fantasy games when they started doing cutscenes. Like the characters looked completely different in the cutscene. Yeah.
10 million rendered unreal time polygons to 7 real time. And you're like, Cloud's hair looked like triangles and shit. And you're like, damn, son. It was rough. Crimson Desert. Is Crimson Desert higher budget than most AAA games? No, it is not. It's actually almost right in the middle of your current AAA. And the cool thing is they accidentally released their release date last night, basically across a ton of different stores. Looks like a release date popped of November 30th for that, for Crimson Desert Day 1 edition. That popped yesterday. Those were deleted almost instantly, but they did pop up live on a website. Multiple Xbox PC, like all of the ones popped up at the same time and then were deleted. Whether that turns out to be true, I don't know. Most of the time those are true. But we are living in the world of ChatGPT. Where somebody, I mean, who knows? Maybe somebody faked all of that, the URL and everything. If it does happen and it gets announced, that'd be great. I'm excited for that game, just to see if it's a travesty. It won't be, I don't think. Next up, okay, I'll get to that one later. That'll be at the end of our podcast. That's a little bit deep for us right now. Trucksback says, "What's fun?" What is fun? This might be also repeated in our Discord questions. If you get a chance, Johnny, can you see if somebody asked what is fun? I feel like I got a Telegram, I got a Discord, and I feel like I got a Twitter DM where somebody asked me to describe what fun is in games. So that must have popped up somewhere. Man, I don't, fun in games is never, I think fun in games has to do with the person, the platform, and those are the most important. So the platform being the genre or what have you. Because if somebody's playing Dark Souls, fun is going to be a different dopamine style release than if it's Tetris. They still overlap, but the platform is super important. And then the context and how it's delivered super important, which is why I don't think fun has a really good descriptor in gaming. I think, like, when I do Fun Factor, I'm always like, here's my context of why it's fun. Sorry, Silver, go for it. What were you saying?
It's kind of rushed, right?
I mean, yeah, it could be, but what do you feel like? I look at on this and I'm like, what do I feel when I play Division versus Dark Souls versus, let's say, Tetris for you or Columns for me?
Yeah.
Because I would still say Columns is fun. And there are times, like, I'm sure you've had this where something does go wrong and you're like, oh no, and you succeed. And that's fun because that's that sense of success. However, I don't want to say it's a sense of success because I've had a great time and I weirdly have a great time not being successful. I like it, which nobody else, well, Silver likes super hard games. I like putting them on hard. I do like that. We like that, but that's a different style of success and fun than, some other game.
I think it has many flavors. We do have a question about it.
Go for it. Read that one
Saturn
first.
Asks, hey, Carrick, what makes fun factor in a game, especially when compared session games like Hades to something more meaty like an open world RPG epic?
Yeah, I think I answered it. I mean, it depends on the context of the game, and it depends on the player. It is a big player-driven factor. Fun is different things for different people.
And even for the same person, there could be different types of fun.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy League of Legends, but that's a very different type of fun than, say,
Night Rain.
If I'm Night Rain or like something chill like Mario Kart, those are just completely different just types of engagement.
Can I also say
with games,
go for it.
I think with games, a lot of it is is the core gameplay loop engaging? Does it engage you? And if it does, I think that's sort of the foundation of where the fun comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah, because without that, it's a one-off. Except,
yeah.
Well, I was going to say except, but that's incorrect. I was going to say except at Telltale games where there's no cycle, but the cycle is in choosing the narrative between each discussion. So it doesn't matter what I say on that. Yeah, but yeah. And it's just difficult to describe. I mean, fun factor is all about the context of everything put together within a title and the platform that it's the genre. Sorry, that it's.
Well, in a way, that's why you need to spend quite a bit of time explaining it in your videos. Because if it was just the one dimension thing, you could just say, well, it hits,
right?
8 out of 10 in fun, but that's not how it is. It's just nuanced.
And I've definitely failed. I think we all fail at times on explaining what's fun because even if I look at it and try to identify it, sometimes and that's why I've had people mad where I say there's an almost indescribable thing, and somebody be like, well, that doesn't do a good enough job. And I'm like, sorry, on this particular game, I couldn't tell you what it is other than the couple things I can mention. There is whether it be a sense of discovery, which can be fun. We played games where, just a sense of, like somebody might find The Witness fun. Witnesses, puzzles, discovery. What's the Blueprints game that came out?
Blueprint.
That sense of fun is dramatically different and almost alien compared to the sense of fun over here. But I think ultimately, like Silver said, if it's engaging enough to keep you playing, that's at least the foundation. Yeah. That's the starting. Even if I guess you could go, this keeps me playing, but I hate it. But I want to see why I hate it. But that's not fun. At that point, that's masochism.
Yeah. Failure to explain it like that time I tried to explain.
More like just curiosity.
That's more curiosity, yeah, and a dark sense of it. If you're like, I hate this, but I really want to see where it goes. that's a dark sense. Good question, though.
Like I was gonna say, like that one time I tried to explain why Raft is fun, and utterly failed.
Listen, you guys ganged up on me, and it wasn't just you. It was fucking Absy, and I'll never forgive either one of you jackasses for wasting 15 minutes of my life describing why a game I had already played and didn't find fun was suddenly magically fun. But later you can do something, blah, blah, blah. Jesus Christ. But anyway, yeah, good discussion. Someone out there found Gollum fun.
Stranding as well.
Yeah, that's true. SBZ said someone out there found Gollum fun. Yeah, I'm sure someone did. At that point, I would not only say the person in the platform, but I would say the person's problematic past. Let's go with alliteration. Because if somebody finds Gollum fun, I don't know. I feel like there's other issues in their life. Might need to go to a therapist.
It says more about the person than...
It does. It says more about the actual person. Moving on from there, we got Games Fest, man. Summer Games Fest. Sony did their state of play. Then we have the event today. Then we have the Xbox event. There's been rumors of all different kinds of stuff being announced at these, which happens every year, by the way. But I was wondering if there's anything you guys would like to see from a developer that maybe you haven't seen in a while. We've got a lot of developers that are sitting on the back burner, toasting, their toes. We haven't heard anything from them for a while. Is there anything that you guys are looking out for, or a sequel? Can be a remaster. Is there any off the top of your head, Silver?
Yeah.
What's that?
Creative Assembly. I really want to know what next Total War is coming.
Gotcha.
What the next Total War is going to be.
Because we're on year 6? Year 6?
No, it's not year 4 of Warhammer 3.
Okay. Man,
and we're like 2 years out from Pharaoh now. I think.
Wow, did that one come and go? I forgot about Pharaoh. Feel bad. Damn.
So yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting to see what. I mean, the rumor mill says 40K. I still have trouble imagining that. But maybe. I mean, it would make a lot of money. I'm not sure how it would work, but it would make him a lot of money.
It would.
But the other rumors are like everybody's dream is Medieval 3. I personally would love to see a new like Gunpowder Total War, New Empire or Napoleon or something. But yeah, like we haven't really heard anything. We don't know anything, and I mean, there's also potentially Three Kingdoms 2. Although supposedly that one got canceled with all the layoffs at Creative Assembly.
Okay. Wasn't aware of that.
So whether it's still alive or not, I don't know. But I love Three Kingdoms. I think it's the best Total War game, frankly, as a game, in terms of its systems. So I would love to see a follow-up on that. So yeah, I would just love to hear more from Creative Assembly and what they're doing, and what their plans are for outside of Warhammer.
Outside of like DLC or new stuff for the current.
Yeah.
One. Yeah. And Warhammer, like you said, as a whole. Warhammer 40,000 would be weird. I would be all for it, but I don't know how it would go together. What about you, Johnny? Any don't say Bloodborne.
Yeah. I'm expecting to see something for Lies of P DLC. And I wouldn't even be surprised if they shadow drop it. They say it's out today. You know? I could see that happening.
So no release date currently for that one?
No.
Okay.
They just talked about summer.
Really? All right. I thought that one had been announced. Okay, so
No.
Liza P, seeing something from them, shadow drop from them. Anything else? Silk Song, Synth Squatch says. Synth Squatch. Bigfoot out there DJing. Any others? Either one of you guys? Anything? I'll tell you. So we got Thief VR.
James Bond, right?
Yeah, but
from IO.
Yeah, we are going to see it because they have an IO tonight. By the way, just if you didn't know, Silver, they've got an event tonight. Yeah, yeah. So we can see James Bland. I mean, it is a weird looking character. It is definitely generic character number 7 in a character. I still think this would have been a great moment to let us do our own created characters, especially because that guy looks like one. I think that would be great. But as somebody said, when he's asked by the bartender, shaken or stirred, and he just says, just water. That's quite literally, he is James Bland. It'll be interesting to see how that nails it. But what I saw looked good. What I saw, I thought it looked enjoyable overall as from what they showed, sort of aimed at their level of monetary output that they're able to deliver. I think also his hair and the way he looks and his age lets them separate from Agent 47 as much as possible. You basically got a pompadour versus a bald man. You know, he's got like the Japanese fucking, huge wavy anime hair that you might see in some older game versus Agent 47. I think that works quite well. Let's see. Iggy, $10 super chat. Thoughts on seeing an Elder Scrolls 6 trailer of some sort this weekend following the Oblivion hype? How many years ago did we see the trailer, which wasn't a trailer? It was literally just a camera going over some grass and the font.
No, it's got to be. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be like 5 years now, right?
5 years, right? 3. I'll say 3 to 5 years since we've seen that. Yeah, for
sure. Or more.
Yeah,
because it was. I mean, it was prior to COVID.
Oh damn!
Was it?
Yeah.
Damn, son. Okay, well then I'll say.
So I mean, that's sort of my marker.
That's a mind-blown moment if it is. That's pure insanity, man. Okay, so thoughts on it? I say they just went up because I do feel that that's like overall, in general, their next huge thing. It's what people are talking about. Oblivion did a great job as a remake, even though it was, a side company. But, really, seriously. Also, Carrick, are you shaking dice? I always wondered what the noise is. Happy Friday. Oh, that's, literally anything on my desk I grab and move around. Like, here's a 5-hour energy, which, by the way, tastes absolutely revolting. But, yeah, anything that I can. Recently, it's been my little earbud thing. Let's see. Moving on from there. Love me some shadow drops. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. I'm okay without shadow drops, but I get where people like it. I just think right now, if they let's say they shadow drop tonight, then you have the IO event, then you have Microsoft's event. Microsoft is adding 25 games to Game Pass. GeForce Now is adding the same or very close to the same number into GeForce Now. I feel like it's really easy for somebody to say, what came out? If people are saying, did the Switch come out? I feel like it's pretty easy for a shadow dropped game to get missed unless there's something that's so strange, huge, and mind altering. Like I saw people saying Arc Raiders a shadow drop, and everybody else was like, who fucking care? I mean, it's already been a beta. It's like, why would you could shadow drop it at this time, but it might not be your best bet because there are going to be people doing other stuff, like watching trailers, and you sort of want to hit it when you've got the news cycle. But who knows? I could be wrong on that.
Steam storefront visibility is more important than ever, I think. Right
That's
now.
true. Yeah, very true. But we'll just have to see. If you like shadow drops, hopefully you get some. And if you don't, hopefully you don't. Rhino says, I kind of like Bond. Looks exactly like a British guy that played rugby at boarding school. Dude, just so you know, you're the only one who would then like James Bond. He looks like a guy I know from boarding school. All right. But I get why you like him. He's a younger Bond. Nothing wrong with that. That's the way it should be. Let's see. It's based in some dude, the 007 care. Lucitan, as always, with a post that's both enlightening and incredibly easy to understand and parse. It's based in some dude, the 007 care. There we go. That's as far as we'll go with that one. Moving on from there, any other stuff that's coming out for Games Fest? Did you guys see the list? There's like, I think 41, or there was 41 announced
I haven't seen it, no.
companies a couple days ago on like a little placard that says like, here are some of the companies that are coming. So be pretty cool. This goes on for a week, right? Because it's like the event, then there's the indie RPG. There's some stuff next week on different days.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's going to be a lot of people super, super busy trying to figure out how to jump in there and check out what has been shown. We'll be doing it in the Discord, it sounds like. But I don't think we'll be streaming it or anything like that. I did get a rumor that was verified by 3 people. So we'll just say that this was verified by 3 people who could also be liars. And if it turns out to be wrong, that's what I will say they are. Persona 4 Remake will be announced at the Xbox event. We do know that it's coming, but supposedly it's going to be announced at the Xbox event, which is on Sunday, I believe.
Damn. Yeah, it's so hard to track all the different events.
Yeah.
What do you guys think in general about the Summer Fest? Is it like a high mark overall as an event?
I haven't paid any attention at all, to be honest. Life has sort of kept my attention elsewhere.
I think that's fair, and I think I would say that it's not a high point because it's too wide. It becomes a plateau of highness. So like everybody's attention gets higher, but it never gets to that tip like E3 would. E3 had the event, and it was a little easier to parse. This is more of like, are you an RPG fan? Well, then tune in on Tuesday. Are you a IO fan? IO Interactive, tune in tonight. Or, you know what I mean? It's sort of like that, which it's a little bit, I wouldn't call it a high point, but they're doing a good job. And they're letting everybody get some shine, which is great. But at the same time, man, it is really hard to parse like what event to look at. Is the RPG game going to be at the Game Fest or at the RPG event? And does that mean I need to sit down and watch every single one? There's going to be a lot of AI getting a lot of tokens this weekend as people are like, summarize what was shown in this event. You're going to be, and a lot of people doing 85 podcasts or videos.
It's funny you mentioned that because I did that for the state of play. I just got like ChatGPT to give me a summary, and it told me about Neo 3, which happens to have a demo out.
Yeah.
And even though I went on to watch the video, I hadn't seen I hadn't registered the thing with Neo because it was so fast.
Right.
They just said it in passing. They basically didn't show anything. So like the summary gave me something I didn't even catch watching live. And I find that sometimes with these events that there's so much filler that it's also hard to pay attention to stuff when something does appear because you kind of just zone out while watching.
Yeah, I would say that's definitely true. Are you going to play the demo? Are you going to go and try to grab it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's on PS5. I think it's only PS5 currently.
Yeah. What I saw of that looked a lot like just sort of Neo 2.5 kind of thing, which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
I like the gameplay. They definitely, there's some places where technically I feel like they haven't advanced where I would expect, as they've been churning out a lot of games. Maybe it was their CEO said, let me read this, said something along the lines of, they are now big enough to release a game a year. That is got its own negatives and positives, which, is a bigger discussion than what we have. But let me read this. A Neo developer Team Ninja has grown big enough to put out a major new title each year, said the president this morning. That's a lot. That would be a lot of games. That would be a lot of crossover for one company. But if they nail it, you're in good shape. If it's mediocrity, you're probably falling into the Ubisoft thought process where people start considering even the good ones mediocre, the bad ones worse, and suddenly you become known as like sort of glutting up everything. But Rise of Ronin 2, maybe? Just joking. Wait a minute. No, that wasn't them. Yeah, that was them, right?
It was them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nintendo just announced they're going to replace drifting Joy-Con 2 controllers for free. Joy-Con 2?
Is that what they're calling the Joy-Cons for the new?
Have people been reporting it? I didn't know
that would be pretty quick.
Yeah, that would be pretty quick.
But it might be a future warranty or something.
Yeah, true. Right, just informing people, hey, if you have, if you have drift of some kind on this, okay, that makes more sense, right? Yeah, that's good. Let's see.
Given the issues they had with the first one.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Anything else with Games Fest? I think overall, I'm gonna watch today's. I'm gonna watch Microsoft's. I'll watch the RPG one for sure. Let's see, what else is there? What other events? Do you have the Games Fest schedule, Johnny? Can you grab it? Do you think? Because I think there's a breakdown of each event. Let's see. Sin Squatch says, I only get excited for Nintendo Directs now, and those are usually a letdown. I mean, I sort of agree.
I mean, the last one was pretty good, to be honest.
Well, the last one was pretty good. That's true. Eternal says, I think Summer Games Fest is more like the beginning of hyping big games for the year. That's fair. So, like, Games Fest is sort of the beginning, and then you roll into summer. Then you have, at the end, the awards. Game Awards is obviously a huge hype train for this kind of stuff. So, yeah, that's fair. Anything, Johnny?
So, there are a bunch, but the most prominent ones is Day of the Devs. That's on the 6th. It's today, actually. So, I guess these are just part of the show. You have the Devolver Digital IOI showcase. And then you have a bunch of region-based. You have Latin American Games Showcase, Southeast Asian Games Showcase, Future Games Show Summer Showcase.
Future Games Show. Wait, say that one again. Future Games Show Summer Fest
Showcase.
Summer Showcase. Okay, gotcha. That's a mouthful.
And that's on Saturday. So this will be going through until the 8th. So starting today, going until the 8th. On the 8th, Sunday, you have stuff like Xbox Games Showcase with the Outer Worlds 2 Direct, PC Gaming Showcase, Death Stranding 2 game premiere.
PC Gaming Showcase will be fun.
Yeah.
And Xbox One will be enjoyable just to see what overall we get announced.
Mm-hmm.
Or if anything gets announced. Outer Worlds, I want to see. Really want to see more Outer Worlds 2. I liked what I've seen of that. So,
yeah. Do you think they could announce a date for it in the event?
I feel like Outer Worlds does have a date already.
Does it? Oh, okay, I'll double check.
Could you check? Yeah, I believe Outer Worlds, maybe they just did you know how these lately have been like, hey, look at us, we have a date, and you look and they're like fall of 2025. And you're like, that's not a date. Yeah. That's a series of 60 to 90 dates. I could be wrong in that, Johnny.
It's just slated for 2025. We don't have an official date yet.
Right. What if that gets shadow dropped?
Dude, it's available today.
It's Outer Worlds 2 available today. That would be probably the biggest shadow drop I've ever seen, and I don't need it. I don't want it, but it would be hilarious because Chaos is.
Do you actually prefer if it was just like an announcement
No, I would like 1
the hype
month.
of it coming
1
later.
to 3 months like they did with Fallout. I like 1 to 3 months. I don't like 9 months or a year, but it's very hard for a PR, campaign to do it that short. Oregon Fresh says Phil better apologize. Yeah, don't worry. Phil's probably apologizing for Nintendo Stick Drift. Yeah, man, there's a bunch. It's going to be an exciting event when it comes down to a lot of the summary, but we'll just have to see. Let's see. Anything else for Summer Games Fest? Any questions you guys have about Summer Game Fest, or feel free to throw your thoughts in there. Drum Dude says, Carrick, not games related, but who do you think wins the main event at the UFC this weekend? O'Malley, probably. Yeah, I'll go with that. I really don't make any bets on UFC. I just show up to see people punch each other in the face and see CTE in real time. Like, dude, someday in the future, we're going to get the ability to do x-rays that don't damage people, but consistently watch. You'll be able to watch UFC happen. You'll actually see the scarring occur on those guys' heads. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I don't really bet on UFC kind of stuff. I think it's too fragile. We just had this is one of the first UFCs. It might be the only UFC I've seen where a fighter backed out of the final 1 minute prior to the final. We were all in a Discord. Everybody had sat down to watch UFC. We were like, "Hey, man, this will be fun. Let's all order this UFC. Let's just sit down, watch it. Blah blah blah." And at the right about 1 minute prior, boom, the person canceled. So it's pretty rare. You never quite know. Eternal says, "I will say this year, it's impressive how many companies Keighley got to partner with Summer Games Fest, 60 plus." Yeah, I mean, might as well. I don't see any reason why a developer would say no. I don't even know if I'd call them. I don't think that has anything to do with Keighley. I mean, it's Summer Games Fest. If they have something to show, it could be me. And I think if I had that amount of clout, people would show up.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome that they've gotten to this point where it's so prominent, so big. But at this point, it's just people want to be on it, right? It just makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Just Don't Care says, Silver, how many bodies do you keep in your freezer? I don't know what that
means. That's between me and my freezer.
Yeah, exactly, man. Come on. How many bodies can fit in the freezer is the best question. Because I would assume his freezer is maximum capacity, right? Its compressor in the back is just fighting to keep all those bodies cold. I mean, why would you keep them in the freezer? Why wouldn't you eat them? Well, maybe not eat them.
I'm saying, why do you think one excludes the other?
That's true. It's true. Nice human haunch. Nothing hits the
spot.
A
cycle, when stuff goes out, stuff comes in.
Eternal says, I hear PC Gaming Show on Sunday has 15 new announcements. I mean, I would hope Summer Game Show. I think that's the thing. There we go. I'm glad Eternal said this. I hear the PC Gaming Show on Sunday has 15 new announcements. I personally believe it should be 100% new announcements. That's sort of what I would like to see. Where if these events if they're gonna do a major event, I don't need to see them break down another event or another trailer and say, "Hey, here, Sony State of Play did that with the fighting game. They had a developer interview." Yeah. Mukil? I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I'm sure I did. 40-pound super chat. Next Half-Life game to be announced. We're there, right? Don't you guys think we're pretty close to a Half-Life 3 announcement? I mean, in all honesty, aren't we here? Aren't we here? Don't laugh, man. Come on. Okay, well, let's go it this way. Bloodborne. Let's go by sheer chances. Bloodborne or Half-Life 3? Bloodborne 2 or Half-Life 3?
Bloodborne, unquestionably.
You would really? You think there's a higher chance of Bloodborne 2 than you do Half-Life? Damn.
Unquestionably.
Okay.
I don't think hell is anywhere near chilly enough for Half-Life 3 yet.
Damn. Sonar right now is sitting back, just hanging, probably reading a book, and suddenly feels a knife in his back. He's like, why did that hurt?
Yeah,
Feels like somebody ruined my future.
Reality is reality.
Damn. Okay. What about you, Johnny? Bloodborne 2, Half-Life 3. Which has a higher chance of being announced before the other?
Yeah, I think it's tending towards 0 for both. But yeah, I think Bloodborne is at least we know that they would like to do it. They've said it in the past, like at some point they would like to do it. But Half-Life 3, I don't think we've heard anything from Gabe or, his people that they even want to work on the new Half-Life.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did in that documentary stated something along the lines of, we haven't done it because we haven't been able, there's nothing that we could iterate or improve yet.
Yeah, it read pretty final to me.
Okay, all right, that's fair. I will go the opposite way. I will say that if you are hoping, for a Bloodborne, just crush it down, compress it, and never talk about it again.
Put it in that box.
Put it in that box with your other
make
emotions.
It really small. Put it in box.
Compress it down, and it should just be behind you and never in front of you. Because I think Half-Life has a higher chance than Bloodborne 2. And I would love to be wrong on both, by the way. People always think
it's been 20 years, so if it's bound to happen, maybe.
It's bound to happen, maybe. That sounds like ChatGPT being really confident in its hallucination. It's bound to happen, maybe. Let's see. Let's go here. Alexis says, who would win in a fight, the Angry Joe crew or you three guys? That question is actually incorrect. It would be who would win in a fight, the Angry Joe crew or Carrick alone, and I would win. Next up, what do we got for questions on the Discord?
Okay. All right. So, first question of the day. AJ says, what's a game you love that most people seem to hate or hate that most people seem to love?
Okay, let's switch that because we talk about it a lot. I have an alteration to that because we've answered that a bunch of times, and I don't want to repeat ourselves. Nothing against AJ. I because I think it would be like we don't have much to say. Can we mention how about a genre? And it doesn't have to be that you hate. It's just one that it can be that you hate, right? You've jumped into it a couple times. I fucking hate this. But is there a genre of titles that does not appeal despite attempts at you trying to see if it does? So you have to have experience with we can't be like gotcha games if you've never played one. It has to be one. It has to be a genre that you have attempted, and then it just has not worked out. Like it ultimately has not worked out. Has that ever happened to you guys? Is there any genre you can think of that you're like, that is not for me? Because I have one, and that is gotcha games. Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
go ahead, Silver. What's yours?
Probably in so much as it is a genre, like a bunch of the historical paradox games, like Hearts of Iron.
So,
Universalis,
Universalis, or whatever.
Yeah,
those things are they're depthy. That's a good point, and you like that. I can see you liking that too.
Yeah, for sure, but they just no, I bounce off them.
Spreadsheet generators, man. You turn those on, Silver, and you're like, and I bought all of them. That's the word. I don't buy the DLC. I'm not a fucking maniac. Like I'm not living. If I would, I'd be living in the Testarossa because I wouldn't have a house. I'd have to trade off one of the other.
You're made of cash.
I'm not made of cash, but like Silver says, man, they just aren't fun. I don't fun in broad terms. No, I mean, it's just not for me.
You have to dedicate a lot of mental attention and acuity and awareness to those games. I feel like.
Yeah, that's a good. And do you think it's just them? By the way, so what I mean by that, Silver, is they have a certain style and pattern to them. That company.
Yes.
Do you think it's paradox and historical stuff more than it is just?
I think it's historical stuff that's sort of that obtuse,
right?
Specifically, and that's sort of detail oriented, I guess. Is what I sort of bounce off.
You turn them on
in spite of having the interest to engage with it and get into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good one. What about you?
Just a hump I can't get over.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Johnny?
Dude, for me, it's fighting games because I enjoyed them as a kid growing up casually, like Marvel vs. Capcom, Street Fighter. Tekken 2, I want to say, like an older one.
That's awesome.
And then in recent years, I've tried a bunch of them. Well, I also used to play the old Mortal Kombat games and stuff.
Okay.
And I've just like tried a bunch of the recent ones.
Mm-hmm.
The only one that was fun for me was Injustice.
Yeah.
It's the first one. I really liked that one. But everything else I tried, I haven't been able to click with. The recent Tekken I tried out. I tried a couple of recent Street Fighters, along with like the Dragon Ball one, the sparkling
Sparkling Cider, the Fighters, or whatever it's called. Yeah, I don't remember.
But yeah, I feel like, first of all, my skill level is very low going in, so I have to do so much learning curve to even get like to a good place in them, that I need to enjoy the moment to moment to get there.
Yeah, right.
It's like, because if you're not enjoying the process of getting good at the game, you just never will. So
you can just sit in the corner and spam uppercuts or like click kicks or whatever.
Right, exactly. And that's just never been fun. I watch people who are good and I feel like, damn, I would like to do that. Right. But to get to that level is just not reasonable.
I guess we'll call them a genre now, but I think we would all agree it's most likely a subgenre. But the battle arena games also, I admittedly, I thought Apex was an absolute blast. I really enjoyed it. But for the most part, whenever anybody starts talking about like concentric ring shrinking or big open areas and flying out of your airplane to land, and there's something about it that just, I think I was interested when they came out, but they don't interest me at all now. But I'm always looking for a game that brings me back to a genre. Like, for example, the Paradox games. I do like some of them. I'm always giving them the chance, but the chance is all they get, right?
Crusader Kings, Stellaris.
Crusader Kings, I like Crusader Kings, but I don't know why that one. Maybe it was because of a smaller group of people, Silver. Like maybe it was because the armies.
Yeah, there's like a more narrative focus kind of. Yeah.
Again, I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Mukul? 100, I can't remember what that is. Lightning Bolt. He says, not a genre, but I dislike difficult games, FromSoft and roguelikes, and the hype around them. For me, games should be easy, relaxing, chilled out fun. Dude, I don't think you're alone. And I think the community around those is as hardcore as the games they like. And they will make you believe that they're much bigger and, and that like everybody should embrace them.
They're very vocal, yeah.
Very vocal. And I would agree. I mean, I like them sometimes, but I totally get where you're coming about. And I understand for games it being relaxed, chilled out, fun too. I mean, we have forgot sometimes what games are. I'm reading here, a lot of people saying fighting games, man. A lot of people talking about fighting games. Mike says, I used to do all that frame count and such with fighting games. Krypton says, sports games are only fun when you can talk crap to your friend as you beat them. I mean, I feel like that's fun even over dinner, but I get you. Let's see what else. Battle Royale games, fighting games,
I had a pretty good time when I was playing FIFA career mode, and I had gotten traded to Manchester United.
Yeah.
And I scored a goal on Liverpool, and then I recorded it and I sent it to Sleeve, who's a massive Liverpool fan.
Be like, dude, even in video games, we're better than you. Right? You said it subtitles. Even in video games, we're better than you. I don't know the records.
Yeah, he really appreciated that.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys take that stuff pretty serious over there. Talking crap to friends. We were discussing that today, and the difference between like, toxic and septic, and then just fun, bad talking, and how the lines have become blurred. And, you'll hear somebody jump into a game and they sound like they're taking it so serious, and then they pop off and they're like, yeah, so anyway. Well, dude, seriously, it's not even trash talk anymore. It's like it's just like an influencer moment that even general people will have. Jump into a game, influencer moment while they're streaming or while they're playing their, what's the Rocket League? And everything's hot and heavy, and as people like to say it now, sweaty, even though that's now been replaced. And then they jump out and they're like, so anyway, pip. And you're like, dude, seriously? You turned on that just for the game? It's like, calm down, man. Platformers. I can't jump to save my life, Harry says. Ooh, platformers.
Yeah.
That's
tough to get into as well.
Yeah, I would agree with that. J Glynn 888 $20 super chat again. Thanks for the super chats. You guys know we don't do sponsors. One of these days I'm going to figure out a sponsor we can do where I feel like I'm comfortable with the sponsor. You can use my Amazon affiliate code. That helps out actually. But one day I'll find a sponsor. It'll be like, I don't know. Maybe we'll do, what the hell could we do? A reading program.
Yeah.
Something like that. We get like two people.
Audible or something.
Or Audible. Yeah.
We talk about something we're listening.
If one person clicked it, I'd be happy. I'd be like, okay, there's one person out there reading who watches. Been gaming for 40 years.
As long as it's not Manscaped or something.
I've never done fucking come on. I did the fake Manscaped where I sold you a lawnmower with a trimmer attachment. I hate that shit. Been gaming for 40 years. This is Jay Glynn. And again, thank you. Been gaming for 40 years, but listen to this podcast has filled my front log with great games. Oh, dude. Awesome. This is cool to hear. Remedy, Plague Tale, Dredge. Dredge is good. Remnant 2. Also, Age of Wonders. Fucking phenomenal game. I feel like I will never play a bad game again thanks to you all. Trust me. Don't feel like that, please, because then you're going to do a super chat to pitch at me.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, dude, that just happened recently, too, where I don't even want to get into it. But yes, I appreciate that. We all do. All those games are awesome, but there will be a time where you will wake up and be like, that stupid Best Gaming Podcast has let me down. I don't know what game it'll be, but it will happen. Please.
I like the idea of a front log. Kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm assuming maybe that's where he got it from, because that's what we read back when Reg was on the pod. We used to just call it that, because it'd be like, I hate the idea of a backlog because that's guilt. Or it's like, wait.
You just have shit you want to play.
Front log is anticipation, Johnny. That's what's awesome about a front log. It's anticipation. It's like, I can't wait to play this. That's not the same as I gotta play this. You have to go to a family reunion. You have to go to your in-laws. If you're saying, I can't wait to go to my in-laws, doesn't that sound way better? Like
the word back is just already,
it's on your back,
you.
Right?
Yeah.
It's awesome. Eternal says, I grew up with games that didn't save progress and I don't miss them. That's fair.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
That's fair, right? Yeah, the idea of, oh my God, or it's got 88 codes for the save game and you can't read them. Yeah. You're like, what the hell? Eternal says, you won't necessarily like a game. Jeremy, who's that? Just joking. But sure, it helps be informed about the pros and cons. So you can make up your own mind on a game. Yes, very much so. Or Silver, or Johnny, or Reg, or Absy, or GB. I gotta contact GB and have him come on. I gotta put that down on my list. I want to see what he thinks of GTA 6, because right? Go Burns right now is dissecting shoes or something in the trailer, because that guy is a GTA super freak. I actually reach out to him this weekend and see what he's up to and see if he can come back on. What else we got in there? Jonathan, just joking.
Got this one from Jesus Crust. What is the strongest enemy or boss in the game you think you could take in real life? My answer is the training dummy in Sifu. I don't know, man. That dummy could. I don't know.
That dummy's like one of those toys you got as a kid where the bottom was filled with sand and you'd punch it and it'd flip down and flip right back up. It might end up hurting you. In real life, the hardest boss you could take in real life. Man. I'm assuming he's saying without weapons, right? Or maybe with the weapons that are in the game available to you? Because if so, that changes everything.
True. I think there's a big chicken I fought once that I could have a crack at.
Not the Odyssey chickens, because those will kill you.
Oh, no.
Not Assassin's Creed Odyssey chickens. Those things are a fucking another level.
Chickens,
What'd you say, bud?
Or Zelda chickens.
Or Zelda chickens, yeah. Yeah, I'd like to know where the history of turning the chickens into these fucking mastodon-like hatred machines that follow you across the game world, just like you're leaving bloody breadcrumbs everywhere. And they're just chasing you down and just kicking the shit out of you. I wonder where that started. Probably Zelda then, I would guess. Zelda probably started the whole chicken craze.
If I had some root beer, I might be able to kill the chuck.
What would root beer do? Was it a puzzle to disintegrate him? Okay.
Yeah.
Which one was that? Was that?
Or kill him. That was the original secret.
The original secret.
Yeah.
God, those are good games. Master Chief says, have they talked about Switch 2? We have in general, yeah. But if you have a question and you want us to talk about something for Switch 2, we can bounce around to that as well, for sure. What else?
There is something cool about the Switch 2 with the digital cartridges. They have like a library that you go into so you can see all the games you own. And they show like which ones you've popped in digitally. So it's like it shows as if you're like inserting a cartridge, and that's basically when it starts being loaded in and downloaded.
A graphical representation?
Yeah, it's all just a graphical thing, but it's cool like the way they've kept it around cartridges in there, and it does a good job of like showing you something. And there is something to be said about their UI being quite, user friendly and just nice, which is cool. I like. It's kind of hard to explain, but I think it works really well for their stuff because you go in there, it's all really rounded, really cozy. You're not loading a game, you're inserting a cartridge. Even if it's digitally, it kind of works. And honestly, yeah, they've improved a lot of stuff. I feel like with the new Switch, so I'm happy to see that too.
Eternal says, I've seen people on Discord with Switch 2 getting hard crashes. Yeah, I mean, every single system I own has hard crashes. I don't think the Switch 2 will be impervious to them. I don't think there's a system I own. Sega Genesis had hard crashes. So, yeah, you should expect it as a bunch of people get it. I think that system's going to sell well, though, for sure, regardless. A lot of people seem to have loved it. Javier says, I almost had a fight with a dean on a parking lot. Come back home. Dean on a park coming back home from the gym. Almost had a fight with. Oh my God, he misspelled it twice. Okay, he meant to say, I almost had a fight with a swan on a park coming back home from the gym.
Okay, he corrected his typo to say Sean.
Dude, a Sean. That's like a Chad. What would a Sean be? A Sean would be a guy who apparently hangs out at parks with swans.
An Irish.
And he's always a little tipsy. Just always a little tipsy, always a little mad. And no matter what you say, have you ever had one of those friends, no matter what you say, they're always a bit argumentative? You'd be like, man, I really like this. And they're like, yeah, me too. But I mean, I don't know if I trust what you like. And you're like, dude, seriously, what?
I'm thinking of Sean Penn.
Sean always looks like he has to poop, right? So he's sitting there, he's with the swans, he's feeding the swans. You walk by, he gives you a look, and you can't tell if he's like nodding or if he's like, what are you doing walking between me and the swans? That's a Sean. Yeah. I think from now on, Sean.
Swans are ornery, though.
Swans? Oh, yeah. Yeah, swans. Yeah. Yeah, swans are pieces of shit, man. Yeah, I would say.
Yo,
I'm still streaming.
I'll come back.
Yeah, we'll see. We had a brownout. That's the third brownout this morning, man.
That's frustrating.
Yeah, well, we had a brownout last night when we were all streaming too. I just left the stream running, so we'll see if it just pops back up. I'm gonna have to
looks like it's back.
Yeah. Sorry, folks, if you can hear me.